That's it. I mean, that's that's the state, that's the minimum. You got no gray area anywhere. You know, anything could get us, water line break, something. And then now you're tacking days that you would normally have a place to pull out. You wouldn't have a place to pull those out. You know, go with 1,068 or something where you got that fluff days built in, or, you know, leave yourself some room to wiggle. But this is, you said that the hourly calendar, so I got hold of Central and got theirs. And then I got hold of St. Jen's, looked at this. They haven't done it, but they've looked at it. And I got one from Lindsay, and there weren't 2 days difference. The only difference they have from ours, like, is PD days. And the start and end date's almost identical on this. And the only other thing we adjusted is we did move some days around because of the Valentine's Day parent-teacher conference thing, which had been an issue. And so we fixed that in this one.
And since we're talking about the 1,044 hours, that, I'm assuming that's instructional time?
Supposed to be.
And this is off
In
the
session.
subject, but it's got me
In
thinking
session.
about it. So if that's the, how come, let's say we take an elementary and we have the late start Wednesdays where the junior high and the high school start later. How does that all fall into place with these 1,044 hours if we've got,
Because on the high school, you average 6 hours and 52 minutes a day. And on the elementaries, you only have 6 hours and 25.25 minutes per day. You only have 6.25 hours per day. They're all over the board, but what we do is we average all those up and we total them. And so our average per day in attendance is 6.428. And if you take that and you take the late start Wednesday out, which is 6.078, and you look at there's 218 of those throughout a year, hours total, and in my total hours on regular attendance was 887, then I come up with, I had enough that I could trim out 61.87 hours and still be at the 1,044 and keep the late start Wednesdays. But building wise, high school is 6.52, middle school 6.35, intermediate 6.67, Parkside is 6.25, and primary 6.35. Some of those variations are because of the bus overloading zones, they just have different dismissal times. The high school differentiates because they have an expanded passing time between periods. They calculate, they have minutes in there for passing. And then we also run more lunch shifts at the high school, which forces you to have split periods, and those add up to more minutes. But that, it's a very, you see the biggest is like a quarter, it's like 0.25 more at the high school. It's not a lot, but you have to put the minutes in there somewhere because of the extra things they do at the high school day. So theoretically, they're the first ones to start and they're the last ones to get dismissed, supposedly. And then the buses run when they run their routes over there at the high school, and that's where they pick up at the high school. So we consider high school dismissal time as when the high school is dismissed, not when they get on them, because they're still waiting on the bus in the college. That doesn't mean that that's the end of it and the buses have run. That time changed on the buses, so it adds up to the number of minutes that I needed to keep us flush. And when I did that, it was only a change in the bus time only changed to somewhere between 3 and 3:05. From between 2:40 to 2:43 is the actual bell now. The current bell's 2:43. And that would put us somewhere on a 3 to 3:05, which would put, if once we get going. You know, you can't judge us off the first 3 days because it's crazy on the bus the first 3 days. There's no way they can get those routes in those times. But theoretically, if we roll over in those minutes and they all get changed like they should, then we should finish bus routes somewhere between 4:35 to 4:45. But I mean, you can look at it, you can do something in between. And again, you know, the calendar doesn't go into effect until August. You can do anything you want to the calendar between now and then. You have a board-approved calendar, which can always be amended. I would caution you against 2 things. One, going to the absolute bare minimum, 1,044. That's pretty tight. And 2 is I would leave PD days in. I wouldn't make any contract adjustments for the shortened schedule. Because we lost a bunch of PD days before when we took those out. We used to have considerably more PD days and we trimmed a bunch of those out. Well, 3 of them. And everybody always asks, why are the yellow ones always at the front of the calendar, not at the end? Well, after the testing window, it doesn't make a lot of sense to go in and do a bunch of professional development or teacher training or techniques when you've completed the test for that year. So we do that early in the year so we can work through preparation for the testing.
And if you were gonna make that like a 1068 you'd put those extra fluff days at the end and use those as to make up snow days later?
No, if we were gonna make it a 1068, I would take the extra 14 hours or whatever we're gonna have between the 44 and the 68, and I would put them in here on like a spring break or something, so we had time, if something happened to us in the middle, we can take them out, and we're still staying above the 1,044. See, you gotta remember this, my funding is based on meeting the criteria of 1,044 hours. So any hour that you come in below that, it's not like I lose one kid for an hour, I lose 3,265 kids for an hour. And I don't have the number here with me, but I did to today, so every hour is expensive if the whole district's not here. You know, our average attendance is about 93, 4 we're holding that this year, somewhere in between, I think it was 93 something when I checked last time, so 7% of the kids, you take a reduction in that every day. And if you throw a day with 3,200 and whatever gone, see, they've got a new rule, and it's called 90 of 90. Used to, the target was 90%, but the really good kids that never missed offset the kids that missed all the time. And it averaged out, you were okay. On the new APR, they've got it 90 of 90. 90% of your kids have to attend 90% of the time. That tightened the shoelaces, because all those kids that don't attend, you can't have the little kid that never misses. He's not going to make up for somebody now. They got to get their own 90%, or they adjust on the APR on the funding. It's the 1,044 would be a concern for me. Going, you know, it won't be in the future for me, but I would be concerned about that as a superintendent, knowing that at any time you could face a dock of a day. You know, 7 times 3265 times 6131.
So why don't we do this? Why don't you guys look over this and send me your opinions or concerns, and I'll communicate those to Dr. Foreman. And then if we want to look at making a change, we can put that on the agenda for next month.
Sounds good.